Welcome to Ascending Together, where we connect and reflect. I'm your co host Selma, and with me is your co host Mariam. This is a dopamine you need while folding your laundry. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please make yourselves comfortable and join us.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
Hi,
alaikum
Salma.
assalam, Mariam. How are you? Eid Mubarak.
Alhamdulillah, Eid Mubarak. كل عام وأنت بخير.
وانتي بخير. How was Eid for you this year?
So I'm
Sorry, guys,
trying.
we're recording with
I'm
our.
trying to um, focus on the positive things.
Mm,
Subhanallah, Eid is always a little triggering.
mm,
Um, and I have so many emotions this Eid, just like
mm,
last year with everything going on.
yeah.
Trying to look at the positive and be grateful.
Mm,
But it was a little hard during
mm,
Salah because
mm,
in my head I wanted to get up early, have everything ready, perfect,
mm,
just like it was growing up, and I wanted to be there in the first Salah, and I didn't make it to the third one.
yeah.
And even when I did, went to the masjid and I had to be directed to a different area because I had kids with me.
Yeah.
So it just everything like started adding
It
up.
feels different.
Yeah, and I felt so overwhelmed, like, finally we got dressed, finally we made it out of the house,
Yes.
and then I didn't even get to be in a place of, that's quiet and peaceful. I had to
Mm,
go to the kids' room where it
mm,
was so nice. They had, like, the same carpet in the masjid, they had a big
yes.
TV, so we were able to hear, but I
Mm,
think the overstimulation of my own kids sitting
yeah.
on my lap, throwing themselves on me,
Mm,
and everybody else's kid. It was a little overwhelming.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Um, I had a similar experience. I just tried to be a little bit overzealous and go super early to Eid Salah. And since we live farther now, nothing is really that close. But and this is not like this doesn't just come from me. We've heard this from several moms how you tend to forget yourself in Eid, right? You prioritize your kids, you prioritize their experience, but then you forget to look nice yourself, right? And you forget to plan a day that's fun for you too. Um, so I think that's what we really got out of Eid this year is that anticipation leading up to, okay, well, I want to make this very exciting for my kids in a healthy way, not make it materialistic. Um, but also I don't want to burn myself out in the process.
Yeah, I always had that. Like, I'm an afterthought,
Mm-hmm.
and I even forget to get my clothes ready. Not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
buy something, but just get them
Mm-hmm.
ready.
Mm.
And this year, I had something to wear just because my mom thought about it. But
Yeah.
if she didn't, I wouldn't have had anything
Mm.
ready to wear. At
Yeah.
least, yeah, that side felt good.
Mm.
I'm happy for myself too. Like, I'm celebrating myself. I'm celebrating my journey in this Ramadan. But
Mm.
it's hard to think about it. It's always
Mm.
just about the kids. What do they need? How to get them what they need? And subhanallah, I wonder if we come to a point and we realize that and we just switch and we remember ourselves too, or something that we gradually have to
Work on
work
intentionally.
on. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. Like, I think the biggest wake up call for me this Ramadan, I set so many expectations for myself, and you guys heard us in the, I think it was it the third or fourth episode, the one where we talked about working. We're in Ramadan prep mode, right? So we
Yeah.
have spent 2 months prepping for Ramadan, and we're really anticipating Ramadan. We were excited. Then Ramadan hit, right? And all that list of things, the ibadat that we intended to do, coupled with fasting with young children. Some of us haven't fasted in a while, whether it was breastfeeding or pregnancies, coupled with the daylight savings, right?
Yeah.
with small kids, bedtimes clashing with iftar times, then the expectations completely went out the window.
Yeah.
And towards the end of Ramadan, I felt a sense of disappointment with myself and resentment towards my life in a way. But then when I was reflecting on this, I was thinking that I'm not my ibadah is not only to do a Quran khitm, right? Reading Quran is wonderful and I love to do it every single day. But my fard is to treat my kids well. And if I am so resentful and so drained and so burnt out that all I'm doing is yelling at them all day in Ramadan and they associate Ramadan with the hungry, tired mom, then what am I doing?
Yeah. Um, SubhanAllah, I always think back on how I grew up, and I don't remember that. I don't remember my mom yelling or being hungry or tired. And I wonder if she was, and it
Mm-hmm.
just it we didn't remember it, or she
Mm,
wasn't. Maybe those times were different. Maybe growing
mm,
up in Muslim country had a different,
yeah,
impact. And
yeah. There's also the village, one, and two, a lot of us were in school when our moms were fasting.
that too. Yeah, but my mom dropped off my lunch um around like half an hour before it was lunchtime. That's how my mom was extra. That's all of
Mashallah.
my friends would bring their lunches in the morning,
Mhm.
and my mom thought she had to give me lunch that was warm and freshly made.
Subhanallah.
Subhanallah.
Yeah.
Allah
We
Jazallah.
know where the overachievedness comes from.
Yeah, true. Subhanallah. Yeah. It
But no,
definitely
but
is. I just want to touch up
mm,
on the yelling part. We definitely need to be more conscious and practice more gratitude. Myself, when I find myself in those low
mm.
times, it's usually because I just woke up and start like go 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 go
Go,
go go.
go, yeah, 0 to 100. Our kids are all
Yeah,
0 to 100, though. They don't warm.
yeah, but even if my
Mm.
kids are awake and if I was able to remember to breathe and to just
Mm-hmm.
remember, like, to ground myself, think of one or two things that I'm grateful for, and just have be conscious of
Mm.
my day, it makes a huge difference in everything, whether it was
Yeah.
Ramadan or not.
Sorry, guys.
Nice to hear the little kids in the background.
Yeah, well, we're keeping it real here. One, two, none of us have the time to edit, so you guys are just gonna have to
Sit
push
with it.
through. Sorry.
Well, I'm glad we were able to record an episode
Yeah.
and just, I know this Ramadan, the Eid after Ramadan, it's really hard for all the moms
Mm-hmm.
and very overstimulating. So I wanted to share my experience so you
Mm-hmm.
guys feel that it's normal.
Yeah.
You can relate to all of us and you
Yeah.
don't feel alone or something is wrong with you
Yeah.
for feeling like that. It's just a different phase, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put us in this phase right now that has so many different rewards. And one of the shifts I had during Ramadan was a good friend who does not have a baby, but she just mentioned casually that she goes to the masjid twice a week. And I said, huh, I'm
Mm.
thinking I was holding myself accountable to go
Mm.
to the masjid every night
Every day.
and
Yeah.
have a baby, you know? And it's not even necessary for us. And she
Mm-hmm.
said that she thinks that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala maybe told us that we don't have to go to the masjid because he knows we're gonna feel so guilty for not going and we're not gonna be able
Yeah.
to go. And that's, oh my God, removed a huge weight off my
Yeah.
shoulders,
Yeah.
you know?
I
Hmm.
mean, yeah, I think that was the wake up call I had this Ramadan to was to respect the phase I'm in, right? Because we're all moms, and no two of us have the same circumstances, right? Some of us may be working full time outside of the house. Some of us may be working full time inside the house. Some of us may be homeschooling. Some of us may be sending our kids to school. Some of us may not have any family around to help. Some of us may have. So our circumstances are all different. Some of us may be more morning people than night people. It completely shifts um with with our circumstances. And I think what I learned this Ramadan is to respect the phase I'm in, right?
Yeah.
And not put these unrealistic expectations, and make the most out of
What you
the
have.
what I have, right? So let's say, for
Yeah.
example, I am very tired during Ramadan. We haven't fasted in a couple of years because we've had babies. If while fasting, if being present with my children and listening to Quran, reading a page or two, and giving them all of me, right, in the best way possible, and preparing a nourishing meal for them, that's all ibadah,
Yeah.
right? If that means just praying two sunnah after Isha instead of a full night of Taraweeh, so that I need to have energy for them when I wake up in the morning. That's that's
Yeah.
that's my ibadah.
Yeah, I think we need to learn more about the rewards of
Mhm.
the things that we're doing, the day-to-day
Yeah.
mundane motherhood things we're doing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Maybe we need to find like more lectures about it or ask people to talk about it
Mhm.
more.
Yeah.
Because in my head, when you say that, automatically I think, oh, but
Mm.
praying or doing this and that, it's more rewards than what I'm doing, which I don't think is true. But it's
Yeah.
just my head, it goes like, well, what I'm doing is
Mhm.
not good enough.
I saw a video where a sheikh was saying how this mom is so much wealthier um spiritually than most of the men sitting in the room, because she made a list of 10 intentions during Ramadan while cooking dinner, right? She said, well, I serve the needy, right? Because your hungry family is needy. And she broke it down in a way that I never thought of it. And subhanAllah, one task like cooking, she set 10 different intentions for it: nourishing my family, making them healthy. And she did dhikr while cooking, right? Um, and imagine the edge she's getting just because she broke down and set the intentions um for just doing what we sometimes see as a mundane task, like, oh, I have to cook for
Yeah,
my family today.
that's
So, and
amazing. I
right,
need
so
this
like
story.
I'm gonna look for it and try to share it with everybody, but it makes me really, because I know you're really big on setting intentions, and made me think like how big setting intentions is. And intentions is not just something that we should be nonchalant about. It's something that we should take very, very seriously, because it could make the difference between really making or breaking the edge that you get.
Yeah, and you get fulfilled too.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you are spending the same time cooking, but you can
Mm,
either use it, spend that time
mm,
replenishing your nafs,
mm.
your soul, or you just become grumpy and draining your own
And
energy.
resentful. Hmm.
Yeah.
You can even have content. You're either can be content or resentful, and it's so easy. And like, I want just want to make this very clear. I get it when you're so stuck, you can barely process these thoughts. Where
Yeah.
you're so stuck, you cannot have a thought or breathe in or breathe out to feel positive. I get that. We all go through those ups and downs. Um, I would highly recommend reach out to somebody, talk to your friend, be like, help me process this. I'm so stuck. I cannot think right now.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Because when you talk to someone, you're able to move to the next
Forward.
step. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. So what do you have um or what advice or sorry. What advice do you have for next Eid, for example?
for next site, are we talking about next year, or Eid al Adha? I want to be a little bit more realistic. I really, really want to focus on my presence within my family and include my family in ibadah. That's in terms of Ramadan. But for Eid, maybe prep for Eid before Ramadan. I don't want to take away from ibadah to plan for Ramadan for Eid. Um, but I don't know. Allahu Alam where we will be uh
Yeah,
next Eid. We take it as I realize I can plan ahead until I'm blue in the face, right? But the season is the season. We're gonna have daylight savings again next Ramadan, so
yeah, yeah. That's the thing. Um, I mean, if anybody has any ideas or tried anything and it worked out, please reach out and share it with us in the
yeah.
comments too. And I think
I'm
I
sorry to
think
cut you
the
off.
whole
You know what I
mindset.
wanna
Yeah,
you
go
know what I
ahead.
want to do? I want to take more pictures. I realize that we're so in this we need to make it to Salah. We don't have time to think about how we dress or our kids dress or something like that. And that I just become something mundane. I want to record it. I want to make it nice enough that we record it even if it's not nice. I want to look
Yeah,
back. I realize that we just don't take yes, we're always on our phones. We always have pictures of our kids doing things, but we don't really have momental
family or
family momental like momentous pictures for our kids to
yeah.
have, you know?
Yeah, and I remember someone used to call it on Instagram proof of mom too,
Yes.
because I had to dig through my husband's phone to find a picture of
That
me
you exist.
with the kids, yeah, and all of us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a good one too. I think
Yeah.
it's also just the mindset that I'm not going to push for being in a salah the early salah
Mhm.
again. I pushed for it for the last 10
Mhm.
years, which is crazy. And
Mm.
hopefully this time I'm not going to do
Yeah.
that.
I would also recommend, like, if people don't mind driving or doing it, a little bit more research. It's beautiful.
What do you mean?
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry. What I was saying was, my son wanted me to compliment his Lego design. So if you know, you know.
100%. I
Um,
can't.
fine. You don't necessarily have to go to your local masjid. If you're willing to get in a car and drive a little bit, look for a masjid that is set up physically in a way that's more accommodating and is more accommodating to moms with kids and is more accommodating to making you feel um, that you can enjoy Eid too. All right.
You're right.
Um,
That's actually good.
yeah.
Good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, like we chose this year to kind of sway away from a local masjid and went to something that's more community based, and we loved it all. We liked it a lot more
Okay.
than just your traditional masjid.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Well, Mariam, this is the conclusion of season one. So
Yeah.
this was our season one finale.
Yes.
We really appreciate that you all have listened in this far. Um, we still haven't heard enough feedback, but we would love to hear back. And inshallah, we will work on the launch of season two once we have that up in wraps.
Yes.
And
Inshallah.
may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you all flourish in your current roles and your maqam where Allah has placed you,
I mean.
and free all the oppressed in this world.
I mean.
Inshallah.
I
Inshallah.
mean, Jazakallah khairan all for attending and listening to our podcast. And yes, we would love more feedback on topics that you would like to hear about. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.